गुड आफ्टरनून प्रहर्षा. सो प्लीज टेल मी समवन की लास्ट क्लास में कौन सी पीडीएफ थी और कौन सी स्लाइड थी. कोई बताओ. यही था वैसे आपका. नहीं. अच्छा अच्छा ठीक ठीक.
You were explaining liberalism.
ओके ओके ओके, हाँ तो यही स्लाइड है फिर. सो नो, लिबरलिज्म नहीं, लिबरलिज्म के बाद में वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन विद द लोहियास क्रिटिक. ओके, सो लोहिया के व्यूज को भी वी हैव ऑलरेडी डन. ओके, सोशलिज्म के बाद लिबरलिज्म था ना. नहीं, वी हैव डन, वी वर ऑन दिस स्लाइड ओनली. ओके, सो इक्वालिटी थ्रू डिफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट. ओके, सो व्हाइल टॉकिंग अबाउट इक्वालिटी थ्रू डिफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट, so what does this mean? Okay, so basically this notion means कि equality must be there. We do agree with this notion that yes, equality should be there. Okay, we need equality, but the thing here is that equality cannot be achieved by treating everyone equal. But because everyone are not equal, because there are differences, you also know everyone that differences are there, and even differences are inevitable. differences तो होंगे ही होंगे, जरूर होंगे, इसमें no choice is there. But now coming to this point is that, so that is why, because differences are there, absolute equality must not be there. Absolute equality must not be there. ठीक है. So that is why how you will achieve equality, by differently treating people. Everyone should not be treated equally. Okay, so for example, this is basically called as differential treatment of the people. For example, ramps for person with disabilities to access public building. For example, public buildings are there. Now you are saying why special arrangements must be there for the people with disability. No, this is not equality. Equality is that whosoever needs ramp must be provided with ramps, and whosoever can walk can be provided with stairs or maybe lifts. Okay, so special protection for women working night shift. Now you will say that men and women are both equal and there must be no special arrangement for safety and security of the women working in the night shift. No, this is not what we aspire for. We want that yes, the women who are basically working during the night shift must be given some special benefit, for example the cab facilities and everything. Okay, facilities to remove the practical barriers faced by disadvantaged group. So there are certain disadvantaged group, and they, whatever barriers that they face must be removed. Okay, so this is basically the notion of equality that we deserve, that we aspire for as a society. Okay, these measures basically do not violate the notion of equality, and actually in reality strengthens the notion of equality. This strengthens the equality. Okay, now coming on to the next point, affirmative action is a tool of equality. So how, what is affirmative action? So making special arrangements for those who need, who require special arrangements. Okay, so this affirmative action can be a tool for providing equality to the people. Okay, what is the purpose of affirmative action? It is basically to remove the disadvantage that is faced by certain groups. Okay, it ensures that everyone gets equal access to opportunities. Okay, now coming on to the international experiences, so many countries uses the tool of affirmative action in their policy for the upliftment of those who need it. Okay, what is Indian approach to this? So India mainly relies on basically the policy of reservation. In India, this policy of reservation is the main tool through which the government aspires to provide affirmative action to those people who need it. Okay, good afternoon Sania. You all are actually not attending the classes regularly. कोई नहीं कर रहे हो तुम में से. कहाँ थे मैडम? सेमिनार था परसों, आपका सेमिनार था. कहाँ थे सर आप कल? 7 बजे तक आपका कॉलेज था, परसों उनका सेमिनार था, कल तुम्हारा सेमिनार था. You didn't got the notes still? अभी तक किसी को you none of you got the notes? हाँ, है ना notes? कौन कौन से हैं? हाँ, you must already got the notes of at least I think 3 PPTs must be there, है ना? 3 तो होंगे ही होंगे. You did not, basically it is there is no special provision to mail, but you must get the those notes on the e-learning platform. There is one platform called e-learning platform, and on the e-learning platform you can basically, below the test section there is a notes section on your page, and after clicking on those notes section you must get those notes.
Sir,
Okay.
sir,
There
I
is
have checked
notes.
it is on portal.
Okay, so you didn't got it on the portal?
Sir, I got it. I have just checked it.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. All right, all right. He got. So basically, you can also check. Subhashri, Sania, you can check there. Okay. You will also get those notes. ठीक है? चलो. मिले? नहीं मिले? नहीं है? पता नहीं कैसे होगा. या तो मेल करो ना, मैंने तुम्हें मेल आईडी दी थी. Mail on that ID. Okay. If you don't get the notes, mail. ठीक है? So the Indian approach for this is basically, what is Indian approach? To provide reservation. So India majorly relies on the concept of reservation to provide affirmative action. What is the meaning of affirmative action? It is basically based on the idea that formal equality before the law is not enough. Formally, to establish that everyone is equal before the law is not at all sufficient, is not at all enough. Okay. So when inequalities are deep rooted, entrenched, passing on from generation to generation, what should be done? So the state must take some positive and some corrective measures to reduce such types of inequalities between the people. Okay. So core objective of affirmative action is basically to correct the cumulative, the added up effect. Okay, it is basically, its objective is to correct the cumulative impact of all the past discriminations that were being faced by the people in the society. Okay, its core objective is to eliminate the entrenched social inequality, the social inequality that has been passed on from generation to generation. So its objective is to eliminate those entrenched social inequalities, and also to create a just and egalitarian society. So the major objective is to create such type of society. Okay, that is why affirmative action is given. Now, what are the multiple forms of affirmative action being given to the people in our society? So those forms are basically, for example, preferential public spending on disadvantaged group. For example, the group like SC, ST, OBC, women, EWS. So these groups are considered to be like SC, ST, EWS, women, okay, child, all right, even OBCs. These are the groups that are in disadvantageous position as compared to the other people. So some scholarship schemes are there, hostel facilities are given at subsidized rates. Okay, and even welfare schemes are there for the upliftment as a part of affirmative action. Another type of affirmative action is some special consideration is also given to the people belonging to these groups for in regards to the matters of admission to the educational institutions and even public employments. Okay, quota or reservation in educational institutions and job is the Indian model that is there. For example, 100 seats are there in MBBS in a particular college. Out of these 100 seats, let's say 10 are reserved for SC, 10 are reserved for ST, 15 are there for OBC, 10 yeah, or 8 are there for EWS. Now 2 are there for person with disability. So these seats are fixed, and the member belonging to these group can only take those seats. Okay, so that is the Indian model of providing quota to the people who are disadvantageously located in the society. Okay, now what is the justification of affirmative action? Some people basically says that affirmative action is against the notion of article 14. It is against the equality before the law. No, but there is a very valid justification of the affirmative action in society. Why? Because some people, some section of society, many people, not some but many people, has gone through social prejudices in the society. Those people have faced exclusion and segregation in society. Those people are denied of education, job and basic dignity in society. So it is better to correct these things. Historical wrong has already happened with those people. All right, so because of this, these group cannot immediately compete on equal terms with the people who are not disadvantageously located in the society. Okay, so it is better to basically, so that's why equal treatment without support would perpetuate inequality. So when you will, for example, two people, one disadvantageously located and B is advantageously located, B's level playing field is here, A's level playing field is here. So it is basically to create a minimum level playing field. Okay, एक level playing field create करना. So that is why, because the people are not having the same level playing field, that is the main reason why inequality is the result of treating them equally. Okay, now what is the moral and social rationale of this? So moral and social rationale of this particular notion is that affirmative action provides special protection and assistance to the people. Okay, by affirmative action some special treatment is basically done for the people. Okay, now what happens is affirmative action is basically to help the people who had already faced historical disadvantages. Okay, बहुत historical, ये बहुत टाइम से जो है इन जिन ग्रुप्स के साथ में डिसएडवांटेज हुआ है, उस डिसएडवांटेज को सही करने के लिए, to reach to a level playing field. Okay, to reach to a bare minimum field from where they can compete easily from with the other people. So temporary nature of affirmative action: when affirmative action was given in the constitution, it was supposed to be time bound, it was supposed to be fixed for a certain time. But what has happened, because in India, due to the failure of the public policies, this effort, the need of affirmative action is still being faced there. Okay, it has still not been rectified. Criticism of affirmative action is that it violates equality, it goes against the people who do not have the policy of affirmative action. Reverse discrimination also happens. Now for example, there is a person A. Person A belongs to SC community. Person A got married to B. She also belongs to SC community. Both are in government services. Both are having good reputation in society. Both now, so their children C and D. Now, do you really think now still there is a need for C and D to get reservation? No, because already there is a level playing field that is being created for them. So now what will happen is that they, C and D, children of A and B, already could at a very advantageous position located, still getting the reservation, and the people who really need that reservation are not getting the benefits of that reservation. Leads to reverse discrimination sometime. Okay, yes. हाँ.
But for
एक
this
second, आशुतोष,
reason, the
एक second. आशुतोष एक सेकंड, आई एम लिसनिंग टू डाउट ऑफ समवन ऑफलाइन स्टूडेंट का, एक मिनट अभी बताना। हाँ बोलो बोलो। No, this is not true, because what has happened, so his question is that because the caste, the discrimination in the society was the result of caste. Okay, so his point is that, good observation. So this discrimination is a result of caste, and caste is by birth, and this is still there in society. Okay, still there, because in today's society also the people are belonging to different caste by birth. But I would like to bring your attention to one thing, that first factor, that is urbanization. Okay, what is happening in our society is urbanization. What has happened is that by urbanization, for example, when you are living in Delhi, due to this urban culture, the caste identity of people is being blurred here. Okay, Sania, just 1 second, 1 second, bus. In today's time, the caste identity in the urban areas is getting reduced, कम होती जा रही है, because we are sitting here. I don't know your caste, but I should know your name at least. What's your name? सोम सुजोत गांगुली। नहीं, दोबारा स्पेलिंग बताओ। बेटर टू कॉल यू सोम ओनली ना। अ, सोम गांगुली। गांगुली यार कोई क्रिकेटर भी है ना? हाँ, है ना शायद, लेकिन क्योंकि मैं ज्यादा जानता नहीं हूँ क्रिकेट के बारे में, बट मैंने सुना है शायद। कहाँ से हो आप? दिल्ली ओनली, ओके राइट। आपका? ओके, तो अच्छा, तो मेरी बात सुनो। हाँ, तो अभी देखो, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस अर्बनाइजेशन, दिस कास्ट आइडेंटिटी इज गेटिंग ब्लर्ड। नेक्स्ट इज दूसरा, whosoever has raised hands वो डाउन मत करो, रेज ही रखो ताकि आई कैन आस्क यू, ठीक है? अच्छा, नेक्स्ट इज बेसिकली द अर्बनाइजेशन, या फिर हम दूसरा बोलेंगे कि मोबिलिटी बढ़ी है। What has happened in the society is that earlier what used to happen is the occupations of the people were decided on the basis of caste only, but nowadays what has happened is that the occupational mobility is there. Now whosoever belonging to whatever caste can do whatever work they want. Okay, now these two factors, and one more another factor is that the people who earlier used to enforce this caste system na, earlier zamindar landlords, they are not there now. Abhi, like after independence, due to land reforms, those people who used to enforce those caste norms are not there. So that is the main reason why this caste identity is getting blurred, and is like this process will continue. Okay, now yes, Ashutosh, you were having some question. Yes, tell. Ashutosh. In the meantime, Sania, you can ask. Sania or Subhasri, who raised the hand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please tell.
Sir, actually, I lost in the connection. So, can you please explain again? And also, sir, for a moment, can you please change the slide to previous one?
So you want to understand this slide?
Yeah, sir. About the time bound.
Yeah, time bound. In the meantime, Ashutosh, if you are able to unmute, you can ask your question.
A society like India,
Sorry? Sorry?
for a vast society like India, people, sir, for a vast society like people need classification. So the caste is important, isn't you think?
For a which type of society? I couldn't understand.
Sir, huge society, huge.
Okay, caste is important, you are saying.
Impo- yes, sir.
Okay,
For
noted. Your question is
classification.
also noted.
The
Okay, and any other
classification.
question?
Sir,
Any other
I
question?
was no, sir.
All right. I will make you explain this also. Okay. So here the temporary nature of affirmative action. So temporary nature of affirmative action says that earlier when this notion, this concept of affirmative action was basically introduced in the Indian Constitution, it was observed that this affirmative action should be limited for a particular time, let's say 20 years. After that, when their level playing field will be created in the society, after that there will be no need for any such type of affirmative action. It was earlier just thought of, but now what has happened is, but now this has already been continued for more than 75 years. Okay, so it is now being felt that yes, there are something wrong, that something wrong is basically happening. Okay, in terms of this affirmative action, that's why this affirmative action has not resulted in the thing that for which it was basically brought in the constitution, right? So the result is not as desired by the framers of the constitution. Okay, so now moving ahead, criticism is that now it violates the principle of equality. It is basically held to be unequal for those who do not get the equality, okay, who do not get the reservation. Okay, so this has been proved as unequal for them. Okay, now next is reverse discrimination is being happened. So now what happens is that people from general category are now being discriminated. Okay, so some reverse sort of discrimination is happening in the society. So earlier reservation deny equal opportunity to others. Now what happens due to this reservation, day before yesterday only I was reading a news on Law Nation. What happened on that page, I saw the news that there was a case filed in Supreme Court that a child with 0 percentile for belonging to SC community got the admission, but a person securing around 96 percentile was denied of the admission because of being belonging to general category. This is some sort of now reverse discrimination. Earlier the discrimination was with the person belonging to SC community, but now the reservation is against the person belonging to general category. Okay, now reinforcement of social division. Now what happens is that using caste or race as criteria may strengthen the caste identity. What happens when again and again we take the caste notion, we basically accept the caste whenever it happens in the society, sometimes it results into more strengthening of the caste identity rather than decreasing this caste identity notion. Okay, so sometimes what happens, it reinforces the social prejudices. Okay, this also happens. Now what is the ideal goal? So society should remove all the social distinctions and not institutionalize them through their policies. Okay, important distinction. Now before coming to this, let us address the doubt of Ashutosh. Okay, so earlier what used to happen, so uh, we often hear this thing that the notion of caste is basically derived from the religious scriptures. But what used to happen earlier was, it was not the caste system. Caste is not an Indian system. It was basically Varna system. Okay, Varna system. So just hear one story. For example, there are four children in a house. Okay, A, B, C, and D. A child basically he do the work of teaching. He read the religious scriptures, Vedas, Upanishads, and he teaches in Gurukul. He became the Brahmin. Let's say B child. B child is basically the protector of the house. He takes participation in the protection activities inside the house. So B child, what he becomes Kshatriya. Now C child, he basically goes outside and earn for the livelihood of the family. Now C child becomes Vaishya. Coming on to D child, so the D child basically is the is basically providing services to the parents. Okay, helping the parents to carry out the general chores, okay, of the house. So D becomes Shudra, okay. Now this is a necessity of a family, not even just a family, it is the necessity of the entire country, entire world. This is very much required in any society at any point of time. Do you think any society can ever exist at any point of time, whether being ancient India, medieval, modern, at any point of time, without this division of labor? No, because division of labor is very much required in any society. Now the problem came when this Varna system got transferred to a system based on birth, called as a hereditary system. Hereditary system. Problem is here, okay. Hereditary basis of caste based on birth is the main cause of all the evils in the society, okay. So yes, you were definitely true, caste is not required, but varna was always and is always required, okay. But caste which is based on birth is the problem, okay. By birth nahi associate hona chahiye, ठीक है. Now moving ahead, so this is basically important distinction, two meanings of equality. One is equality as the policy adopted by the state, and another is equal rights of individual. What is the meaning of equality as adopted as the state policy? It means the state is majorly focusing on achieving the substantive notion of equality. It means that the state, in treating everyone equal, might require some differential treatment. The state, for treating everyone equal, might require that some group of society may be treated unequally. Okay. And also the another meaning of equality is the equal rights of individuals. In this term, equality basically says, for individual, it says that everyone must get a right to equal considerations. That means everyone must be considered equally in the society, and also there should be fair competition among the people in the society. For first one was basically for the state, in which the state can adopt a policy of differential treatment, and another one was basically for individual, wherein it says that all the individual must get equal considerations and fair competition, okay. That is basically the notion of equality. Now fair competition and real disadvantage. So what is the reality of unequal starting point? So for example, what happens in reality, what happens, the first generation learners, for example, there is a family of X and Y, they have never ever got access to education. Now their child A and B, they are the first generation learners, okay. They are the children of illiterate parents. So these students are from basically deprived community. Now in reality, do you know what will happen? In reality, they will face poor schooling. Why? Because they belong to the downtrodden section of society. They will not get good quality education. They will be sent to the MCD or public schools. They will lack coaching. They will not get any particular coaching. The high fees for professional courses will not be, they will not be able to afford that, and weak social network will be built with them. Why? Because they belong to downtrodden section of society. So hence competition is not naturally fair in the society. The competition is not at all fair, okay. Now what is the role of state here? So the state must recognize real social and economic disadvantages. The state must recognize that in reality, in society, there are certain social and economic disadvantages, and must design every policy that enables the deprived group to compete with others in a fair manner, okay, and must develop talent and skill early in their life, okay. Now there is something called as women's movement and differential treatment. Now historically the women initially demanded that they must get equal right with as compared to men, they must get right to vote, and they must get right to education and employment. But later on they realized that these kinds of rights are basically insufficient, they require something more. So they started even competing for maternity leaves, child care facilities, and even workplace support for their child to rear, okay. Now they started demanding these things also. So without these things the women could not realistically compete with the men, okay. So without these things women, even nowadays, what is a newest demand in the feminist movement for, basically the demand is for menstrual leave, okay. So the demand is that for a certain period of time in the month the women must be given the mandatory leaves called as menstrual leave, okay. Now, coming on to another point, thus differential treatment became necessary to enjoy the same rights in practice. Caution using the differential treatment. So, there must be certain caution, because sometimes this can also happen that the differential treatment might result in inequality. The result of this differential treatment sometimes can cause inequality in the society. How so? While differential treatment may be necessary in the society, it should not create new hierarchies, okay. Now it should not create the hierarchy like the set of people getting special treatment and set of people belonging to unreserved class not getting any special treatment. So now this should not again create some these sort of new hierarchies in the society, okay. Now it should not become a tool for dominant groups, okay. It must not now become a tool for the dominant group to exercise their control, and it must not reproduce oppression. For example, earlier the oppression was being faced by SC, ST and OBC community or women, okay. They were earlier facing the inequality. Now this must not happen that the people belonging to unreserved class faces discrimination on their hand, okay. So this reverse discrimination must not now happen. So there must be so many cautions that must be adopted by the by a person called, बताओ philosophy बताओ. Pareto law, हाँ हाँ. Power moves है ना, flows from one hand to another hand. अच्छा. ऐसा. When the state is, हाँ 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 हाँ. मतलब योर मेन कोर आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या है आपका? No, हाँ हाँ हाँ, डिफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट हैज टू बी देयर, राइट. तो हाँ हाँ, अच्छा, राइट. तो आपका ये कहना है कि ये जो तीन प्रॉब्लम्स हैं होता रहेगा, है ना. राइट राइट राइट, साइकिल्स, ठीक है. यस, आपकी बात सही है, बट ऑलवेज देयर शुड बी अ बैलेंस. एंड देखो ये सब आइडियल्स होते हैं. इक्वालिटी क्या है? व्हाट इज इक्वालिटी? इक्वालिटी इज एन आइडिया, ठीक है। तुम अपने में कौन सा सोशियोलॉजी है ना, तो सोशियोलॉजी में भी तो बहुत सारे आइडियाज के बारे में पढ़ते हो ना, इसने ये आइडिया दिया, डरकाइम ने ये आइडिया दिया, है ना, मार्क्स ने, ये सब क्या है, ये सब एक आइडिया है। बेंथमाइट प्रिंसिपल पढ़ते हैं, ये सब एक आइडिया है। नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस, हमारा काम हमेशा ये होता है, आवर वर्क ऑलवेज, फॉर एग्जांपल दिस इक्वालिटी इज एन आइडिया, ठीक है। नाउ आवर टास्क इज टू रीच हियर, some country is here, some is here, some is here, some is here, but no one has reached up till the notion of equality. Our main objective is to reach up till that extent, right? Our task is to basically go up till that point. No one has reached that point, and there should always be a balance, because the time this balance will be disturbed na, तो ये balance अगर disturb हुआ, so at that time the genesis of the problem will be at that time only. The problem will start coming at that time only, right? So now what is the guiding principle for this? So guiding principle of is that the differential treatment is justified only when it promotes the genuine equality. Differential treatment must again not create another hierarchies. It must be to promote genuine equality. It moves society towards justice only when this uh, differential treatment is promoting the real justice, okay, is moving the society towards justice, then only it should be permitted. And it does not institutionalize privilege. For example, a person belonging to SC community is getting the benefits, his children, his children, his children, his children, still everyone getting the same benefit. Now the point here is that this benefit must not give them a permanent privilege. Are you getting the point? This should not give them the permanent notion that they are somewhat privileged in society. Okay. So it does not institutionalize privilege. Okay, so this must not institutionalize the notion of privilege. Okay, so here ends this chapter. Okay, now moving on to the next chapter. This Saturday, whatever completed, ठीक है, whatever completed. Any doubt, online students, please do tell. बताइए अभी तक उस चैप्टर में कोई डाउट है तो.
No, sir.
Others?
No, sir.
All right.
So,
All right. Yeah. So regional aspiration. So this is a chapter. Okay, let me share the screen also. The screen is shared. The screen is visible to you all.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this
yes,
is a
sir.
chapter of regional aspirations. Okay, all right. So since the beginning of this lecture series, we have seen that we as a country has diversity. Okay. We have diversity. Now what happens? Just remember of your family only. If you छोड़ दो अब उसको, सुनो बस, ठीक है। नोट्स के अरेंजमेंट में ही नहीं रहना है बस। कहाँ रखते हो फिर ये सभी पन्नों को? फोल्डर्स बनाते हो? बस ऐसा ही नहीं हो कि खाली नोट्स के अरेंजमेंट में ही लगे रहो। अरे इसलिए क्या पूछ रहे थे? अच्छा हाँ, तो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली टेक दिस चैप्टर ओनली। तो इस स्लाइड 8 तक, ठीक है, these 8 PPTs will be the base of the assessment, okay, that I will give you. Moving here, so just imagine your family only. What happens even for a very small thing, like what has to be cooked in the dinner? For this thing also sometimes debate happens, है ना? Sometimes this happens because people in a family only, belonging to the same caste, belonging to the same religion, are having diversity of taste, diversity of wants, what they want. So, can we say that when there is a diversity inside a family, diversity of opinion, we can call it, why not there will be diversity at national level? We have diversity at our village level also, at our colony level also, town level also, at the state level, district level, state level, and at a national level. We have so many diversities, like, right? So we can say that in this chapter, basically, it talks about regional aspirations. What is the meaning of aspiration? Meaning of aspiration is they aspire. What you want, you are aspiring. You are aspirants. You are aspiring for clearing UPSC exam. So this aspiration, this want, this zeal is called as aspiration. So in India, there are diversities at all the level. Talking about geographical level, somewhere there is desert, so somewhere there are mountains, hills, plains, plateau. Okay, somewhere there is lot of rain, and some places are deficient in rain. Some places are having majority of tribal population, and some places are having the majority of some population, mainland population maybe. So, due to this geographical, ethnic, even linguistic, because language also varies from place to place. Okay, whenever, like, just by going 10 kilometers away from one area, the dialectic changes. Some sort of changes are definitely witnessed in either maybe one or two word, maybe, but some changes will be there. Okay, so dialectic changes. So, how can we expect that the aspiration of all Indians will be the same? No, this is not possible. That means because there is diversity, hence the aspiration of all the people is going to be different. Okay, so that is why now what happens, sometimes this regional aspiration, the aspiration of the people belonging to certain region, is not accepted by the center. Sometimes this thing happens. Okay, so they fight for that. They basically, some movement comes, some politics comes, enters. Okay, some revolts also happens. Some, now the government sometime also represses that, sometime hears that, much of the time doesn't represses, or I won't say much, but all the time the government of India since the time of independence has never ever treated such things as a law and order problem. We have always, the government of India has always treated such expression of the grievances of the people as basically their expression of their aspiration. Okay, now coming on to this chapter, moving on to this chapter, which will talk about all the regional aspirations, what is mentioned here is that 1980s basically marked a phase of rising of the regional aspiration in the country. Okay, This was a phase where we witnessed a lot of regional aspirations. Okay, so many movement took the shape of armed struggle against the center. Many witnessed the government repressions, and there was all over a breakdown of the political and the electoral processes in mainly the places. For example, in Punjab, in Jammu Kashmir, in these places, this thing has happened. Okay, now, most movements were basically the long drawn and finally ended through a settlement called as negotiated settlement or accords. Okay, so the accord man of India, for example, is Rajiv Gandhi. He signed so many accords between those groups and the center. Any doubt?
No, sir,
Someone?
I just got disconnected.
Oh, you disconnected. Network connection शायद अच्छा नहीं होगा. So कहाँ तक? So do I need to repeat any
Sir,
point?
but
No, no, sir.
sir, I
Yes,
need
Ashu.
to ask something.
Yes, please do
Sir,
ask.
but the Accord Man of India is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel because he
अरे नहीं
was
नहीं, don't give him the status of just an accord man. It was just a word said by me only. Accord man of India nahi, he is the iron frame of India, iron man of India. He built India. So why are you just calling him accord man? Accord man is a smaller word. He accord में तो ऐसे ही बोल
okay,
दिया
sir.
यार, because he signed so many accords. Okay, and that was not accord, that was instrument of accession. ठीक है, accord तो just एक छोटा मोटा settlement होता है. ठीक है, that was instrument of accession. Okay, so now accords were achieved often by after dialogues with the within the constitutional framework. Okay, so the part to accord was violent, unstable, and even turbulent time we have witnessed. So what was the India's policy or India's approach to deal with these diversities? How India have dealt with such diversities? Okay, so the core principle with which India has dealt with the diversity of, so a core principle of India's nation building policy is that India has never denied the cultural rights to minority or majority whatsoever be. The foremost principle that is adopted by the government of India since the time of independence was that we have never ever denied to anyone their right to maintain their culture, practice, profess, and propagate their religion, and to preserve their linguistic script, or either we can call it language. Are you getting the point? So we have never ever suppressed any cultural group of adopting their culture. Okay, so India chose unity without cultural uniformity. There are two models that exists world in many countries. One model is called as salad bowl model. Another one is called as melting pot model. India has always adopted a salad bowl model, wherein, for example, a bowl of salad, wherein so many multiple salads are there, that bowl is the single bowl carrying the taste of multiple salads, veggies, and fruits, right? So, that is the model of India. India, being a united country, carries the taste of all the diversities. In the melting pot model, what happens? When you enter inside that culture, you get subsumed in their culture, leaves your separate identity and gets mixed up with that identity. There is a land having the people or representation from all the religious communities of the world. All the religious communities, some people professing that can be found at any part of the country in India. Okay, so India has chosen the path of unity, yes, the foremost consideration will be the unity of India. Unity of India can never be sacrificed. Okay. But with that, we are not aspiring for cultural uniformity. We don't want a single or a uniform culture to be there throughout the country. We always want that not just cultural uniformity, but basically diversity must be there. Okay. So we have balanced the unity of the country with the diversity. Okay, we want unity but as well as wants diversity also. Okay, so nation is not equal to denial of regional identity. You might be belonging to a particular region, having your own culture, own rights, so you will be given the right to maintain that particular identity. You will never be asked by the government of this country to leave your identity and to adopt to a single culture. Okay, never. So Indian approach is different from many European countries wherein diversity is seen as a threat and everyone is basically compelled to come upon and adopt a particular single culture. Okay. We have chosen that. Okay, so India adopted a democratic approach. Okay, let me turn off the AC. Yeah, so India adopted a democratic approach. Okay, wherein the regional aspirations, whatsoever region expresses their sentiments, they are not treated as anti-national. Okay, here the democracy allows the political expression of all the regional identities. Here the regional parties and groups that raises their local problems and demands are heard of. Okay, and even the democratic politics in India strengthens the regional aspiration. It leaves a space where the regional groups can express their sentiments. Okay, it ensures that the regional issues gets policy considerations and attentions at the central level. However, tensions arises. Sometimes the center is not able to address all the regional problems, and sometimes the national unity dominates over the regional needs. Sometimes some of the region demands certain things that goes against the unity of this country, and hence are denied of it, and therefore they start struggle sometime also turns into armed struggles. Okay, at other time we can see that regional interest ignores the national concerns. Sometimes what happens, the regional interest ignores the concerns of various regions, their unique concerns. Okay, so such conflicts are common in diverse nations that tries to basically preserve their unity. Okay, now moving ahead, what are the areas of tensions after independence? What happened immediately after our independence? What India witnessed? India basically faced partition. Okay, what happened in India just after independence? In India, partition happened. A united country got divided into two countries. Okay, बताओ कैसे? Bangladesh nahi. At that time there was no Bangladesh. At that time, when in 1947 India got divided, it was just in two countries. One was West Pakistan, another one was East Pakistan. So East Pakistan in 1971 got separated from West Pakistan and became
Actually,
Bangladesh.
sir, we have studied in history that Muhammad Ali Jinnah had given two nation theory. That was the main reason for separation.
So what's the question?
Sir, not the question. I was just telling the
Okay,
point.
okay. Yes, exactly. So it was Muhammad Ali Jinnah who, yes, definitely gave the two nations theory by which India was divided. Okay. Now this partition was there, and due to this partition, displacement happened. We will understand this why this displacement happened in the chapter Challenges of Nation Building, which we will study in the upcoming classes. So in that chapter, I will be discussing about what were the reasons for that displacement that happened. After that, there was a issue of integration of the princely states. Okay, so there were 562 small states that was basically given independence. Now the problem was that they were given by the Britishers the choice to either join India or Pakistan or remain independent. Now the problem was that many of them were reluctant to join India, and after basically negotiation, diplomatic actions undertaken under the leadership of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, they all agreed to join India. Yes, some resistances were faced in the state of Junagadh, Hyderabad, and even in this Jammu and Kashmir. Some resistances were there. Jammu and Kashmir's resistance is still being faced, right? Okay. Now there was the issue of reorganization of states. So at the time of independence, this issue came to the limelight. Okay, the issue was that earlier during the time of freedom struggle, the nationalist leaders promised the people that if you will join our struggle, we will create linguistic state, one language. On the basis of this formula, we will create states for your language. But after independence, we saw that the religion is also a type of feeling only, and on the basis of religion, people started demanding a separate country, and India got divided. So they thought that it might also happen that the we will create first the state with one language, then after the augmentation of that identity, what they will start is they will also start demanding a separate country for their language. Now to reduce this thing, the center was very much reluctant on creating the states on the basis of one language. But after so many protests, Vishal Andhra movement like things, what happened? In 1955, basically, a state reorganization commission got established. It submitted 53, the commission was established. 55, it submitted its report. 56, state reorganization act came, and by that act, the states were reorganized on the principle of language. Okay, so many predicted that India would not survive as a united nation, but our experience shows that India survives even more strongly after dealing with these things. Okay, so major regional challenges, it came from Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir, not just an India Pakistan issue, it is basically the issue of the political aspiration of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Nagaland and Mizoram is a state which witnessed strong secessionist movement to basically move away from India. Why so? Because their argument was that they were never part of British India Empire. So when they were never or direct, they were never under the Britishers. So why they were reluctant to join India? Now they said that when we were not a part of the British Indian Empire, so we will not be a part of India also. So strong secessionist movements were witnessed there, and there is lack of consensus on joining India. Okay, there was in southern states also for a brief period of time. So some Dravida, due to the strong witnessing of the identity of Dravida, so they also demanded for a certain period of time, they also demanded a separate country. Okay, so Dravida Nadu, so they demanded this, but nowadays we are not witnessing such thing there. Okay, now moving on to this linguistic and cultural movement. So what in this case? In this case, so linguistic state agitation led to the formation of the states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat. Language conflict is there because in Tamil Nadu, anti-Hindi protest goes on, and in North India, we can see that pro-Hindi agitations are going on, right? Punjab Suba movement is also there. In Punjab Suba movement, there is demand from the Punjabi speaking for a Punjabi speaking state, and creation of Punjab and Haryana happened in 1966. Later on, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand were created to manage the diversity. Continuing challenges are still there. Persistently, there are problems being witnessed at a regular period of time in Jammu and Kashmir and Nagaland. And new challenges are emerging from Punjab, Assam, and Mizoram. Let us understand deeply, okay, in detail, Jammu and Kashmir. So Jammu and Kashmir earlier enjoyed a special status under Article 370. It was like this status was given to it by a presidential order passed in 1956. Okay. So despite this special status, many instances of violence and military insurgencies was being faced in Jammu and Kashmir. Cross-border terrorism was a regular problem and still being faced in Jammu and Kashmir. Political instability was also faced in Jammu and Kashmir. Due to these things, there is a heavy loss of lives. Civilians, security personnel, and militants also lost their life due to these insurgencies being witnessed in the Kashmir Valley. Large scale displacement of the people of Kashmir, people Kashmiri Pandits, who were the original inhabitants of Jammu and Kashmir Valley. So there was a large scale displacement of those people that was witnessed in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. Now let us understand the geographical position and the religious division in Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir comprises of three regions. First is Jammu, another one is Kashmir Valley, and another place is Ladakh. Okay. What is there in Jammu? Jammu is basically when there are hills. So most of the region at the foothills of Kashmir, there lies Jammu. So predominantly the people in Jammu are Hindus. It is at the foothill and the plains, and other Muslim, Sikh and other religion is also present in Jammu. Okay. Moving to Kashmir, Kashmir is now mostly the place inhabited by Muslims. Minorities are Hindu, Sikh, and Buddhist there. Okay. Now talking about Ladakh, so Ladakh is basically a mountainous region, very sparsely populated region and distributed between Buddhist and Muslim. Ladakh is also subdivided into two parts. One is Leh, another one is Kargil. Kargil is having majority of Muslims and Leh is having majority of Buddhist. Okay. Moving ahead, what is the root cause of problem that was witnessed in Jammu and Kashmir? What happened before 1947 in Jammu and Kashmir? It was basically a princely state. Okay. It was a princely state that was under the Britisher but was directly ruled by a prince, not the king. Okay, because the sovereign authority was under the Britishers. Okay, now it was Maharaja Hari Singh Dogra. Okay, so he was Maharaja Hari Singh Dogra, and he was basically by the Britishers given the option to either join India, to join Pakistan, or to remain independent. What Maharaja Hari Singh Dogra wanted, he wanted neither to merge with India nor Pakistan. What he wanted an independent status. When asked upon why he wanted that, he said that he wanted to protect the distinctive culture of Jammu and Kashmir that is called as Kashmiriyat. He wanted to protect the Kashmiriyat. Now, what was the role of NC? NC was a political party called as National Conference under Sheikh Abdullah. What was its role? So majorly the problem of the people, so this movement under Sheikh Abdullah, under the umbrella of this national conference, was that they were very much irritated from the rule of Maharaja Hari Singh Dogra. Okay, they did not wanted the rule of Hari Singh Dogra. So they earlier only started their protest agitations. Leader was Sheikh Abdullah. His party was National Conference. Their aim was basically to end the rule of Maharaja, and they also opposed joining Pakistan. Okay, they did not even wanted to join Pakistan, but they opposed, basically they wanted the end to the rule of Maharaja. Okay, now National Conference was a secular organization. It held long association with Congress. Okay, so Jawaharlal Nehru and Sheikh Abdullah were sharing close relations. Okay, so it had close relations with Congress. So he was close associate of Jawaharlal Nehru. He was a personal friend of Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay, now what happened in 1947? It was the time when these princely states were given the option to basically join either Pakistan, India, or remain independent. During that time, what happened in October 1947? Until this time, Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir was not an official part of India. What they did was the the Pakistan, because this boundary is with Pakistan, in this much of the area, okay, in this much of the area, the Pakistan sent the tribal infiltrators in India. In India, they sent those tribal infiltrators, and basically Maharaja then came to the center, came to India, Union Government of India, and asked for help. Okay, Indian government asked him to first sign the instrument of accession, and then only officially India could help him to basically get the full control of Jammu and Kashmir. So what he did, Maharaja overnight signed the instrument of accession. Jammu and Kashmir officially became the part of India. Okay, so Indian forces repelled infiltrators from Jammu and Kashmir, but what happened? UN intervened. Pakistan retained a very big part, a sizable part of Jammu and Kashmir, that is now categorized as POK. ठीक है या फिर POJK, Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, officially a part of India. Okay, so the issue, Jawaharlal Nehru, I don't know whether it was a mistake or not, but majority of the opinion says that India was in the position to completely vacate this particular piece of territory, to vacate, to basically send those tribal infiltrators back to their homeland. India was in the position to do that, but still Jawaharlal Nehru took this thing to United Nation organization. UN passed a resolution over this issue on 21st April 1948 and proposed a three-step solution to this problem. Okay, what was the problem? The problem was that still a sizable part of Jammu and Kashmir was in the hands of Pakistan only. Now the three-step formula suggested by UN was that in the first step, what has to be done is that Pakistan will have to withdraw all its nationals from the territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Second step, what will happen is that India will progressively reduce its forces from the part of Jammu and Kashmir. After that, they will conduct a free and impartial plebiscite. Plebiscite is an instrument of direct democracy wherein the people will be asked of their opinion of to whom join whom, India or Pakistan or what. Okay, the outcome of this resolution is that still no progress is being made until the date. Okay, this was the date when it was basically referred. Political developments. What were the political developments? Now we will be talking about the area of Jammu and Kashmir of which we are having control. Okay, so March 1948, what happened? Sheikh Abdullah, not the chief minister, but became the prime minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir became the part of India on the assurance only by the center that they will be allowed to retain their own autonomy. They will not be forced upon to mix with the composite culture of India. Okay, they will be allowed their autonomy. That was the assurance given to them, right? Now, what happened? India granted provisional autonomy under Article 370 to Jammu and Kashmir. At that time, the head of the state of Jammu and Kashmir was not called the chief minister, but because he was having some extra powers and extra privilege, called as the prime minister of Jammu and Kashmir. What happened? There were certainly so many external and internal disputes in the valley of Jammu and Kashmir, in Jammu and the valley of Kashmir. What were those conflicts? The politics of Jammu and Kashmir has remained very controversial and conflict ridden due to so many external disputes with Pakistan and internal insurgencies that happens inside Kashmir. What were the external disputes? External disputes were then that Pakistan has always claimed that Kashmir Valley should be part of Pakistan, which is not at all right, because it is officially the integral part of of India, obviously. Okay. In 1947, Pakistan sponsored a tribal invasion of the state. They sent those tribal infiltrators inside India. The resultant is that it divided the state. One became the Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir, another in the control of India. A part of Indian territory is under illegal control of Pakistan. Much of Gilgit Baltistan, that area, that is there in the control of Pakistan, often referred to as POJK. Since that time, since 1947, Kashmir basically is a major bone of contention between India and Pakistan. So this illegal occupation of the territory of Jammu and Kashmir by Pakistan has been a very big irritant to maintain the stability in the valley of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. Now, what is the internal dispute? Internal dispute is the dispute that is present inside India. What's the internal dispute? The internal dispute is concerned with the status of Jammu and Kashmir within the Indian Union. So, Article 370 and Article 371 generally basically is the article that is there in the constitution, that is still there. Effect of this is not there, but the article is still there. So the problem, the irritant, the internal factor is that the people of Jammu and Kashmir want special status. Indian government gave them the special status. Indian government gave them the special status, but what has happened? It has resulted into two reactions. One set of people, one set of people, they basically are in opposition to the special status. A section of people who is outside Jammu and Kashmir, they believes that this special status prevents the full integration of Jammu and Kashmir to India. A section of people who do not live in Jammu and Kashmir feels that why Jammu and Kashmir should be given a very special status. They feel that this special status is the reason why Jammu and Kashmir, still after so many years of independence, not a complete part of India. Now, this demand, their demand is basically that this special status under Article 370 must be revoked, which has already happened. Now, another one is to treat Jammu and Kashmir like any other Indian state. That is their demand. View 2 is basically from the people who are living inside Jammu and Kashmir. They want something even more than Article 370. They want that even more autonomy must be given to Jammu and Kashmir. Mainly Kashmiris feels that autonomy granted was insufficient. Even more autonomy must be addressed. They have majorly three grievances. What are the grievances of the Kashmiris? So number 1, number 2, and number 3. So their number 1 grievance is the unfulfilled plebiscite promise. They says that accession was to be referred to the people after normalcy. They says that whether Kashmiris want to remain with India or Pakistan, this question must be dealt with the people. The people must tell whether they want to remain with them or not. Erosion of autonomy. So they says that special federal status just exists on paper, but in reality the autonomy of Jammu and Kashmir is reduced only. It's not there. Weak democratic institutions. They says that in Jammu and Kashmir, the democratic institutions like the exercise of election that happens, so such institutional practices are weak in Jammu and Kashmir. They consider that the practices related to the institutionalization of elections or something like that is not happening at a regular interval, or is basically not actually reflecting the true spirit of democracy. That's their allegation. Now the core issue is that the Kashmir problem reflects the tension between, at the one side, the integration of J&K with the rest of the India and the regional autonomy. So on one side we want Jammu and Kashmir to completely integrate into Union of India. On the other side, people of Jammu and Kashmir want regional autonomy. So either that regional autonomy can be given. If it will be given, then the unity of Jammu and Kashmir inside the territory of, inside the Union of India, will be compromised. So that's a conflicting thing. Now the question is what to be done. The question is how it should be done. Okay, so that's the very big thing. Overlap of external rivalry with the internal political dissatisfaction. Now there is one influence of Pak inside the politics of Jammu and Kashmir, and on the other side we can say that internally the people allegate, they basically puts allegations that their institutions are not up till mark. They have weak institutional institutions, so they have their own political dissatisfaction. So this political dissatisfaction, if is at this level now, due to Pakistan, it goes up till this level. Due to the influence of Pakistan, it increases basically. So from the next class we will be studying this external and internal disputes in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so slide number, mark it, it's 26. Write it down. Okay, online students also please write it down, for so that you can tell me on which slide we were in the previous class. Okay, so until then, any doubt, any problem, do tell me. Yes.
No, sir.
Okay. Uh-huh. 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 Subjective. You'll have to write, है ना? Okay, okay, chalo. Bye bye. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Welcome.